Our next speaker today is Mr. Pervez Abbasi, Director of National Incubation Center. We'd like to give a brief introduction of Mr. Pervez. Mr. Pervez Abbasi is a tech entrepreneur currently serving as a project director of the National Incubation Center, Pakistan, public-private partnership. The National Incubation Center is a globally recognized award-winning facility that started operations in 2016 from Islamabad and has expanded across Pakistan, creating more than 11,000 jobs, 50 billion rupees of revenues and investments from over 1,000 startups. Mr. Pervez has diversified experience stretching across Europe, the Middle East, and Asia, from startup and greenfield to established market leaders. His entrepreneurial journey started from a small school tuck shop at the age of 13 to a billion-dollar revenue company called Mobile Zone. Mobile Zone became the largest mobile phone handset distributor in Pakistan. Currently, he is also working very closely with the Pakistani diaspora across Middle East, Europe, and the USA to provide mentorship, domain expertise, and funding to Pakistani startup founders across a variety of fourth industrial revolution technologies. Please welcome Mr. Pervez Abbasi to the stage.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. And very special warm welcome to all of the participants today. And also a token of appreciation to the organizers for setting up such a wonderful event where we can exchange ideas. There's often the concept of the elephant in the room. And for those of you who don't recognize me, I am that elephant in the room. Today's discussion I want to share with you, before I do that, a brief introduction about the National Incubation Center. The National Incubation Center was set up in 2016 as the public-private partnership, Government of Pakistan Ministry of IT, through the R&D fund that the honorable gentleman mentioned earlier. And our partners are Mobilink Jazz, which has the largest telecom subscribers, currently over 75 million customers in Pakistan. The National Incubation Center has been a globally recognized award-winning facility, and we have expanded when we started in Islamabad to Lahore, to Karachi, to Peshawar, and to Quetta. We're also currently opening up in Faisalabad and Hyderabad. And as a result of the work that's been done, we've managed to create nationally over 120,000 jobs, over 50 billion rupees in investments and revenues by the startups. Having the privilege of working with thousands of startup founders has given us an opportunity to learn what their challenges are and what their opportunities are as well. As a result of that, we've developed our own curriculum, which allows us to not only share our learnings with the startup founders, but also with the universities as well. And that also has allowed us to create multi-billion dollars, millions of dollars of investment in Pakistan. Over the last 2 years, we've had more investment in startups than we've had over the last 20 years in Pakistan. And I think that one of the reasons for that is because, of course, there's much more awareness. The youth of Pakistan, as creative and as hardworking as they are, have also managed to create startups that are not only creating significant value in Pakistan, but also can be scaled abroad as well. Just yesterday, for your information, Vion Ventures, which is the parent company of Jazz, led an investment of $37 million in a local Pakistani startup. As I mentioned, these startups not only are raising money, but also being able to create significant value for their shareholders. We've had the opportunity to work very closely with industry, but also very closely we've been observing the academia as well. And there is a big divide. And as the honorable gentleman mentioned earlier, this divide is real. And the reason for this divide is multiple. And we have to obviously try to find areas of common interest so we can work together and reduce this divide, hopefully eliminate this divide, and try to find areas of common interest. At the National Incubation Center, we've managed to do this to a certain extent, where we have reached out to universities. What we're suggesting to them is share with us in our language, a language that we understand, the papers that have been published by your PhDs. Allow us to select from those which we feel are industry relevant and allow us to commercialize those in collaboration with the authors, in collaboration with the institution as well. And as a result of that, I'm happy to share with you that when we look at industry problems, we've managed to find local solutions as well. So a couple of examples I would like to share with you here. One is in 2016, one of the largest banks in Pakistan was unfortunately closed. They lost their license. They were fined $400 million in the US. I'd rather not name them, but they are one of our top leading banks in Pakistan. As a result of that, other banks became very nervous and they reached out to us. This is how industry reaches out to us because they have a high level of comfort. And the National Incubation Center presents, I think, common middle ground between academia, where we would like to think that academia is comfortable there, as well as industry. We help them to build a solution in 6 weeks based on the information that they shared with us. Normally, that anti-money laundering solution would take $500,000 and 6 months to deliver. Pakistan ke andar, we managed to deliver it within 6 weeks for less than $30,000. So you can see, just alluding back to the honorable gentleman, that we have local challenges that can be addressed, and we don't necessarily have to go abroad for those solutions. Another example I'll give you, for those of you who are soccer or football fans, Ronaldo 6 months ago picked up 2 bottles of Coke on a live press conference. Some of you may have seen it. As a result of that, a very large beverage company lost a lot of its goodwill and allegedly money as well. Of course, the company became very concerned. They asked us to help them. And what we did was we did some research, we developed a formula, and we built Pakistan's first recycled plastic road in Islamabad. This was in collaboration with the CDA. Again, you can see how we identified a challenge and tried to fix that problem. And lastly, when COVID started, we had a challenge from the health ministry stating that what can we do around COVID? In the health industry, typically, many of you are aware that they look at prevention, detection, and cure. We ran a hackathon where we invited people to participate and crowdsource solutions. We had over 1,200 applicants from 11 different countries. And the winner of that, incidentally, was a startup that was founded by a Pakistani based out of Germany and a Pakistani based out of Pakistan. And they developed an app, a mobile app, which you simply cough into the app and it tells you if you have COVID or not, or tuberculosis, or some other lung disease. The point I'm trying to make is that Pakistanis, there is no two ways about it. Agar hum bairun mulk jaye, we see them very successful. In Silicon Valley, there are billionaires creating value, not only economic value, but also social impact and other impact as well. Those same Pakistanis, they would love to give back, and they are contributing towards Pakistan. I think what we need to really look at is, why is this divide there? And according to my experience, it's basically because everybody is looking at through their own lens, through their own narrow perspective of what they should be doing or what Pakistan should be doing. In today's world, as you may well be aware, the concept of education itself is in question. According to industry, 90% of fresh graduates are unemployable. So we really have to question ourselves that, are we really giving our future generations the right kind of education? Or are there more important things, for example, skill development, that they could learn? We at the National Incubation Center, and I can share with you, we have a number of startups who have developed technologies, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data, and these are all indigenous. One of our startups, for example, Estech, developed facial recognition, which allows up to 4,000 industry workers, construction workers, to be biometrically verified, i.e. through facial recognition, to do their attendance. Not only is that more significant with regards to COVID, but it's also more economical and time-saving as well. The point I was trying to make here is that I think that the universities have a platform which is already in place, known as the ORIC, the Office of Research, Innovation, and Commercialization. And we have to question ourselves is that since they've been around, how much money have they made? When we talk about commercialization, the elephant in the room is how many dollars, how many rupees have they generated? And for me, that is one of the most important yardsticks. And it's quantifiable as well. So when we put in something in, we know that we're putting in, let's say, $100,000 or $1 million or $10 million into a program. What are we getting out of it? And if we're not being able to get anything out of it, then we should question whether we should be putting that money in or whether it could be used somewhere else. I do agree that the government is, of course, one of the largest buyers, and therefore they need to be more flexible. We are also in consultation with PEPRA to be able to identify how we can support local Pakistani companies. And one of the suggestions we have is that all government procurement, minimum 5% has to be indigenous in the first year. In the second year, minimum 10%. And we grow that 5% every year over a period of 10 years, 50% of all government procurement would be indigenous, thus saving ourselves not only billions of dollars, but also more importantly, developing local capacity. And once we develop local capacity, those same people can go on to get better jobs or create their own startups. At the end, I would also like to say that at the National Incubation Center, if for those of you who have visited, can I just see how many people have visited? Thank you very much. For those of you who have not visited, we're in just behind Namal University in H9. I can see we have some distinguished foreign guests here as well. I'd like to invite you, ladies and gentlemen, please do come and visit us. If you need any help, the organizers would be able to arrange that. You can simply Google us as National Incubation Center or www.nicpakistan.pk. All of our papers that we publish are there. All of the roundtables that we have are there. We managed to bring in people from different government organizations like the SECP, FBR, State Bank of Pakistan, around challenges, around problems, and help develop policy formulation. As a result of that policy formulation, the State Bank has changed its policy. The SECP has changed its policy. And as a result of those policy changes, we are now seeing those funds come into Pakistan. Another example I would like to give you is working with one of the local universities where they have developed a nanotechnology, incidentally in 2016 this was developed, where this is bacteria-free. Now, when I looked at the paper or the technology, I was amazed. Okay, 2016 mein, when this was available, why we did not take this opportunity during COVID. Essentially, what we can do is create a spray onto your mobile phone or any other device where it becomes bacteria-free. So I remember when I look at my home, my grandchildren, my children, they often used to pick up the phone and put it in their mouth. Now, obviously, this is something which, if you look in your own social circles, is an issue. Having said that, it's very easy for us to commercialize this. And I'll give you an example. Once that technology is ready, it's commercially available. We have industry partners who can commercialize it, who can take the formula, who can build into a spray. And then we have our partners in the telecom industry with 75 million customers. I always say this, that if 99% of people don't buy your product, don't buy your service, just 1% of people buy your product or your service, it's at least 2 million people in Pakistan. So this is a very large opportunity that we are foregoing. As I mentioned, this spray, I believe that if 1% of the 170 million mobile customers in Pakistan buy that, that's more than 1.5 million customers who are going to use your product. So the opportunities definitely exist. I would like to end by saying that in the National Incubation Center, I mentioned it's an award-winning facility. Many people come to the incubation center and they say, wow, this is a really great place. It's recognized, we have global awards, etc. But this was very scary for me because what I noticed was people only recognized the physical infrastructure. So they like the building. And some of our buildings and universities are really fantastic. But because I was concerned, I did a little bit of research. And approximately 390 years ago, the world was introduced to 2 buildings. The foundation of these 2 buildings was only 6 years apart. The first building was Harvard University, and the second building was the Taj Mahal. If you look at what Harvard University has produced, billionaires, prime ministers, presidents, Olympic gold medalists, Nobel Prize winners. Conversely, what has Taj Mahal produced for this part of the world? A couple of good selfies, perhaps. I'll end by saying that on the 23rd of June at 4 p.m., we have our Angel Investment Network. I would invite all of you to come there as participants, as observers, to not only get an opportunity to meet the startup founders and the investors, but also give us your feedback on how we can improve. Thank you very much.